Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel and hope everybody's doing good out there today. Thanks for taking a few minutes to check the video out today. And I've got something today for you guys that's sort of like another one of those off the wall deals a little bit. You guys saw the video I did last week. We were talking about, you never know what you're going to get on this channel, and this is sort of one of them. As you can see by the title of this video, when I say don't believe anything that I tell you about fishing, and I'll also add to that, don't believe anything that you hear from any other bass fishing YouTubers. I think that, the whole premise of this is what I'm going to talk about with that, is that I'm not saying what the information we're giving you is not valid and true, but what I would like people to do with the bass fishing information and everything else in life, you can apply this to everything else in life, is don't believe anything that you hear to be true. Either prove it right or prove it wrong for yourself. And I think that if you do that, once you keep an open mind, not get locked into one particular way of thinking, and you prove it, to be true for yourself or not true to yourself, that's when you can really grow as a angler or a person both. And I think one of the marks of an intelligent person is that they have the ability to be open to like all sides of a topic. They're not closed off to anything. They have the ability to listen to every point of view out there without taking offense to it, and then either choose to ingrain and incorporate that, whether it be in their bass fishing or in their life in general. And just because somebody is open to a point of view doesn't mean they have to accept that point of view. One of the things that I found out, in bass fishing in particular, and in life in general, again, like I said, everything I'm talking about, you can apply it to bass fishing and life, is that for me, the things that are true are the things that I may have heard, and I try to determine based upon the best information I can get from a multitude of sources, not just one source, but the more sources that you can get, the better. And if you see a common thread coming together in that information source, and you can take that information and you can get reproducible results for yourself, like it continues to be true over and over again, then that is something that I'll incorporate into the belief system that I have, either in my fishing or my personal life. I'll give you guys a prime example about, a lot of the topics I talk about, for some reason people consider them controversial, which is ridiculous because bass fishing techniques should not be controversial. But if I post anything about the fact that I am against braided fluorocarbon, which I am, if I'm against hot foots, which I am, if I like to fish barefoot, which I do, and by the way, I've never stepped on a hook in 40 years. I've never seen so many guys that say that you're going to step on a hook. I've never done that. But anyway, a lot of these people that comment on the videos like that, or anything else, that's not really backed up by reproducible results. For example, we'll go back to the hot foot issue. The only way you can really determine if a hot foot or braided fluorocarbon is good or bad is to basically experiment extensively with both. If you don't experiment extensively with both, there's no way that you can make a rational decision on that. I mean, you can have an opinion that's based up by some type of prejudice that's not backed in fact, but the only way that can become true for yourself is, like I said, if you've taken the time to, have in-depth amount of study and time and dirt time using what we're talking about here. So from that standpoint, when I'm talking about, I don't care if I'm talking about a lure modification, I don't care if I'm talking about, how to cast or how to position your boat or the hot foot issue or whatever, I don't want you guys to take my word for it. I just want you guys to prove me right or prove me wrong based upon your own experience with that. And once you do that, once you determine that to be true for yourself, then that is when you really, really build a foundation for yourself as a good angler. That's when you really gain that hardcore confidence that you're not just blindly accepting what somebody else tells you. Now, you know, yeah, you can take certain things out there. I mean, I can give you guys, you know, tips and advice on different stuff, and I know that it will work. You know, there's always going to be people that are cynical about it. There are always going to be people that are critical about it. But ultimately, that's the only way that you're going to know if you just get out there and prove it to yourself. So, you know, it's sort of like a philosophical question a little bit, this whole thing that we're talking about. Don't believe anything unless you can prove it to yourself, because I think what happens a lot of us, again, in bass fishing in life, is we are taught to have a certain viewpoint of reality from the time we are little kids. And a lot of times those realities are never challenged. They're just accepted, even in the face of overwhelming facts and evidence against that particular belief system. And I think, you know, I don't see that as a positive thing. I don't see that as a good thing. There's nothing wrong out there with being open to all different, you know, different points of view and different opinions and that type of stuff. And, you know, having the ability to discern the information coming in to find out what works for you the best. And I don't think we have that enough, you know, in life in general. For example, you know, I'll go back to the electronics deal. I mean, a lot of people know out there, a lot of people know that I'm against the whole, you know, advanced electronic things. I think it's bad for the sport. I've talked about this in detail without getting back into it, but I think that, like I said, it takes the magic. I think it takes the mystery out of the sport. And this determination, how I've came to this, was being open to all different sides. I mean, I've been in the boat with the greatest electronics mind in the country, which is Johnny Schultz, arguably the greatest electronics wizard out there. I've seen what this technology can do. I've also been in the boat with old, you know, grizzled veterans that they don't even really want to have a flasher. You know, they just want to completely fish bank stuff and what they can see with their own eyes on the bank. And I've been in everything in between. And the determination that I have come to, and the reality that I set into, that I'm not a fan of technology electronic wise, is based upon me being open to just all types of information and input and data and facts and all that type of stuff. And I've came up to that realization myself. And again, in this situation, I like the way it feels to have a simple electronic setup. I feel better about my fishing with that. I know that I'm overlooking some fish. I know there's a segment of the population of bass out there. There is a segment of the bass population out there that I will never catch, simply because I haven't embraced that particular technology. But I've also accepted the fact that, to me, getting out there and fishing the way that I like to fish is also rewarding to me. And I'm gonna catch a segment of those bass that the guys that rely and are just glued to their live scope are never going to catch. The live scopers that are looking down at their electronics are never going to catch that bass in 1.5 feet of dirty water with a black and blue jig like I am flipping behind a stump. So there's a give and take there, and I think you can apply that to every aspect of bass fishing. I don't think there's a technique out there that you can't you know, prove that from. So anyway, I think that when it comes to YouTube bass, you know, content creators like myself and a bunch of people out there, I don't think anybody out there, including myself, is trying to steer anybody in a wrong direction. Everything, I know from my own point of view, everything that I am passing on to you guys, it works for me. I mean, it works for me, and every single thing that I pass along with you guys, I've had reproducible results from it. I've been open-minded. I'll go back to the braid to fluorocarbon. I've used braid to fluorocarbon extensively. I've experimented with it a ton. I've used a hot foot extensively. I've experimented with a ton. But after assimilating all that information and data and facts without some Elite Series pro telling me, Randy, you need to use braid to fluorocarbon, and me believing it, I took that information, I went out on the water, and I proved what works for me the best and what gives me the most reproducible results on the water. And that's the same with what I'm telling you guys. You know, if I'm telling you guys you should rough up your soft plastics and break the salt up in them, don't believe me, just, prove it right or wrong for yourself. If you don't believe me that it's better to run 6 foot waves without a hot foot, get out in some 6 foot waves and experiment for 5 or 6 days using a hot foot one time and a throttle one time. Prove me right or prove me wrong with that. And so the main thing is just, I don't think it's good for anybody to get locked into some type of blind belief system that's not backed up by facts and data and reproductive results in bass fishing and life in general, anything in general like that. So anyway, just a thought I want to throw out there with you guys today. I know that a lot of these videos I do that are sort of off the wall like this aren't near as popular as like the secret modifications, but I also think that the videos I do like this that sort of make you think in a different direction, I think they're more valuable in the long term as far as really improving your bass angling than me, telling you the favorite color crankbait I like to throw in July or something like that. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Appreciate the patience and, having an open mind listening to what I got to share with you guys. And we'll be back soon with another one. See you.